Chimpanzee on the keyboard, man.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce a real artist, musician, and someone with a lot of talent. Tony Green joining us right here on the Ringside program. And Tony, welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me on your program.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Tell us a little bit about what initially attracted you to music. How long have you been making music?
Oh, at least 40 years. At least 40 years. And as a kid, I have two older brothers, and they were into blues, etc. And so they introduced me to the world of blues through various of their friends who were record collectors, etc. So I got hip to the New Orleans rhythm and blues and etc. And that sort of led me as I continued my journey in life to Europe, where I discovered something called gypsy jazz.
And that's really what you're known for, right? The gypsy jazz, right?
Yeah. Gypsy jazz is a term that was coined during the era of in France during the 30s and the 40s, and the great mentor is a guy called Django Reinhardt. And Django exposed me to the beauties of European melodic music, of the Hungarian Sardish, the Italian tarantellas, the fado music of Portugal, the French valse musette. I mean, it's just such a wealth of music, and and me getting in touch with my European heritage too, which is important.
We were talking off air that you were born in Naples, Italy, right?
Yes.
And raised in Algiers.
Yes, and I think conceived in Venice. So there we go, full circle. I'm back.
And what's interesting about you is you live part of the year here, part of the year in Venice, right? Through tomorrow night, your artwork is going to be displayed, correct?
Yes, I've had an exhibition at the Academy Gallery. I'm normally represented by Callan Fine Art, but they very kindly let me have this special show at the Academy Gallery at the 5256 Magazine Street. And it is a show that had paintings of Venice, paintings of New Orleans, and paintings of something called the New World Order. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that here.
Let's segue right into that. You've been doing a lot of research into that, haven't you?
I have indeed. I've always been, had my antennas out. I've been a truth seeker, and being an artist, I have lots of time for research and to see what's going on behind the scenes. And since it started with Kennedy being shot, I didn't believe that story. And then, why we got into Vietnam and leading up to 9/11, which after I did the research on that stunk to high heaven. And then Katrina, the post-New Orleans Katrina, about FEMA, their involvement with not allowing supplies to come in, cutting power lines to create somewhat of a laboratory here for the coming martial law that most Americans don't know that we're already in. It's just not hot martial law.
And with the new administration, is this sort of same sort of control continuing?
New bus driver, same bus. New bus driver, same bus. In fact, this bus driver, he looks so much better. He talks so much better. Oh, he's so wonderful. Love fest. But you're going to find that he's going to be the guy that we're going to hate the most, because they're just going to use him as a scapegoat for when all the stuff really starts to come down. He'll be the birdcage liner that will be pulled out, and they'll put in a Republican one 4 years after him.
This is Patriot Radio, Radio Free Fleur-de-Lis, your shining light of truth in the Crescent City. We have with us today Tony Green, an internationally known artist and musician. He's going to give us the lowdown on his awakening and becoming aware of the New World Order. He does artwork on the New World Order, chemtrails, and other things like that. He just explained it to me, and he can explain it better than I can, so I'm going to let him talk to you.
Thank you so much for letting me come on your Patriot radio station. This is a very important tool to waking up the public, because we're fighting a media that is completely controlled, and the whole purpose is about dumbing down the population. And so I'm very happy to be here. Why am I talking about this stuff? Because I care about humanity. I found out so much. It all started with 9/11. At first I was a lot more comfortable when, I thought it was, the Islamic Jihad and a couple of guys in caves orchestrating the demolition of 3 buildings, building 1, 2, and number 7. I have a choice. I can be a slave and I can just take the official story and walk away and go back to sleep. Or I can start acting like a citizen and do what the journalists are supposed to do but don't do, and that is ask questions and demand answers. I have the luxury of living also abroad. The citizens there have access to information. There was a 2-hour program on Italian national television that spoke about 911 being an inside job. Simple facts like, the temperature it takes for steel to melt versus the temperature of jet fuel in a building. And jet fuel is made up of 80% kerosene, and I believe the temperature is about 1200 degrees and the melting rate of steel is, what is it, 2,000 something? I mean, you can look this up right now on Google and Google up, what the temperature was. It was impossible for those buildings to come down. And then there's building 7 that wasn't even touched by a plane. Okay, that's on national TV. And with this, the citizens can come to their own conclusions by getting all the information and exercising something called analytical thinking, which is what they are not teaching our children to do today. Today it's all about being a repeater. The one who repeats the most advances, and you get to the point where you become a zombie and you just take the information, go with that, and don't question anything. I know everybody out there knows something's wrong, but you feel it in your gut, but you can't really figure out what it is because you don't go and do the research. I just say to you, whatever I say, whatever Gary says, don't believe a word of it, folks. Don't believe any of this. But we challenge you to go out and do your research and prove us wrong, okay? Go do your research, come to your own conclusions. But as far as informing people, this is an information war. And you're not going to hear about it on any of the television stations. The internet is the last bastion of truth, and they're in the process of closing that down. If you do your research and you work your way up the pyramid, you're going to find out there's maybe about 300, 400 people who control what's going on in this world, okay? And the only reason they're getting away with that is because we let them get away with it. So once we wake up and find out that this is an attack against humanity, when you go down the rabbit hole of information and get to the bottom of it, you're going to find out something called eugenics. Okay, Google that up, eugenics, all right? And find out how Bill Gates and Melinda Gates are involved in this. Find out how Ted Turner is involved in this. Find out how the Nazis use eugenics. That was their little laboratory. And folks, the Nazis didn't lose. They merely relocated, okay? If you can begin to dismantle that belief system and find out and discover how, why, and by who you're being manipulated, then you can step away from the manipulation and you make a step closer to something called self-actualization, where you discover who you really are. And that's what this century is all about. It's about humanity evolving to the next level. It's our time. And once you become conscious of the truths, then you become conscious of the lies. You begin to see the lies very clearly also. And when you start to see lies, then you become a very dangerous individual, because you have a certain level of illumination which you can share with your fellow human being, and can lead to some very interesting results. Can lead to things like freedom and liberty. It could lead to the end of tyranny. It could lead to the freeing of your mind so that your creative soul can soar no matter what profession you're in. Because I know a lot of artists, I know a lot of musicians who are not artists, who are not musicians, okay, are not creative at all. They could even be very good technicians, but they have nothing to say. Can I remind you about an exhibition I have right now?
Yes.
Is that all right? Self-promotion, this is the only way I can tell you about this, but I have an exhibit at the Academy Gallery. Do you know what that is? Yes, no. It's up on Magazine Street. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
So, 5250, it's where the New Orleans Academy of Fine Arts is. Okay. So we'll be having, exhibiting my paintings, some of it of New Orleans, some of it of Venice, not Louisiana, but Italy. And then something else called the New World Order. Who knows what that is? Yay! Okay, good. For the rest of you, go home and Google up New World Order, okay? You're going to find out all kinds of stuff you never knew about. What's going on, Big Daddy?
How are you?
Who the hell is Tony Green?